Welcome back. If I told you that a single 1961 D. Lincoln penny, the same tiny copper coin you might have tossed into a drawer decades ago, could be worth up to millions of dollars today, would you believe it? Most people wouldn't. And that's exactly why opportunities like this slip through the fingers of everyday Americans. But today, you're about to discover the truth behind one of the most surprising wealth-building coins in U.S. history, a coin with a current market value reaching as high as $961,000. So before you even think about checking your old jars, stay with this story until the end, because what you learn here may completely change the way you see the pennies sitting quietly in your home right now. The journey of this coin begins in a time that feels like another world. The year is 1961. America is buzzing with optimism, innovation, and new beginnings. The Denver Mint was striking millions of Lincoln wheat and memorial cents, each one just a simple piece of currency meant for everyday life. But hidden in that ocean of copper are a few extraordinary pieces, coins that somehow escaped the ordinary. Coins whose unmatched quality, rare production anomalies, or near-flawless preservation have transformed them from pocket change into high-value collectibles. Think of it like finding a diamond in a mountain of dust. Most people never even notice it. What makes the 1961 D penny so special? That's the mystery that draws collectors in. Some were struck with exceptional sharpness. Others survived the last 6 decades without a scratch, finding sanctuary inside old rolls, forgotten envelopes, or estate boxes sealed away for generations. And then there are those extremely rare varieties and errors that happen silently during minting. A slight doubling of letters, a tiny misalignment, a barely visible mechanical shift. To the untrained eye, they look like imperfections. But in the world of coin collectors, imperfections are beauty, and beauty is value. And here's something that often shocks people. The eye appeal of a penny can raise its value not by hundreds, but by hundreds of thousands. A blazing, flawless, red-toned 1961 D penny in a perfect grade is so rare that collectors will enter bidding wars, driving prices into the stratosphere. Imagine two wealthy bidders, both determined to own the single finest example known. After all, you can buy a luxury watch anytime, but a top-graded 1961 D penny? There may only be one. When that happens, the price tag doesn't follow logic. It follows passion, status, and the timeless power of rarity. But what if you already have one sitting in your home? What if a coin you ignored for years is exactly the type that collectors dream about? That question alone creates a spark of fear and excitement. Fear that you might have already spent one without realizing it, and excitement that you might still own one worth a fortune. And if you think checking your old coins can wait until tomorrow, ask yourself this. What if tomorrow someone else finds their million-dollar penny first, and the market shifts overnight? The rare coin world rewards the fast, the curious, and the informed. Let's dig deeper into what drives this coin's breathtaking value. Condition is king. A 1961 D penny with sharp, original red luster, untouched surfaces, and no visible damage is the holy grail. These coins often lived lives of extreme luck, placed directly into storage right after minting, never circulating, never rattling in pockets, never being tossed into cash registers. Some emerged from original U.S. mint rolls sealed in 1961 and opened decades later like time capsules. The emotional thrill of unrolling history and finding a perfect specimen is something collectors never forget. It's the treasure hunter moment everyone secretly dreams of. Then there's rarity. Not rarity in production numbers, but rarity in survival. Imagine tens of millions of coins minted, but only a microscopic fraction surviving in pristine, investment-grade condition. Ironically, the more ordinary the coin seems, the more extraordinary the rare survivors become. It's like discovering a flawless vintage car in a barn. Hidden, untouched, and suddenly worth more than a new. Imagine waking up one morning, walking over to that dusty old drawer you haven't opened in years, and discovering that a simple 1964 D Lincoln penny, the kind you used to overlook without a second thought, could be worth up to millions of dollars today. Yes, millions. And with a current market value reaching as high as $964,000 in top-tier condition, this humble copper coin is quietly transforming the financial destiny of everyday Americans. The question is simple. Will you be one of them? Most people never stop to ask themselves how many life-changing opportunities they've casually passed by. A penny tossed aside, a jar of coins ignored, a small detail forgotten. But sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest power, and the 1964 D. Lincoln penny is a perfect example. Before you shrug it off and say, "It's just a penny," consider this. Someone else right now might be holding the exact kind of coin you have and gearing up to cash out with a 6 or even 7-figure payday. Let that sink in for a moment. The story of this coin begins in a time when America was shifting gears. The year 1964. The nation was expanding, industries were booming, and millions of pennies were rolling out of the Denver Mint. But among these countless coins, a select few would eventually become the rarest treasures in modern American currency. It wasn't because of their design or any flashy feature. In fact, it's the opposite. They look almost identical to the pennies you see every day. The difference lies in their condition, strike quality, and survival. Very few survived in flawless or high-grade form, and those that did are the ones commanding shocking, eye-widening prices today. Now, you might be thinking, how can a coin that was minted by the millions suddenly be worth a fortune? It's a fair question, and exactly why so many people overlook their own potential jackpot. The truth is that rarity doesn't always come from low production. Sometimes it comes from low survival. Coins from 1964 were heavily circulated. People used them everywhere, from grocery stores to gas stations. Nearly every one of them picked up scratches, dull surfaces, dents, and wear. What collectors are chasing today are the impossibly rare survivors. Coins that somehow escaped circulation, remained untouched, and kept all their sharp details and luster. These pristine specimens are the ones breaking records, and their value is climbing as more collectors join the hunt. A coin you can hold between your fingers, smaller than a button, lighter than a feather, selling for the price of a luxury SUV or even a beachfront home. Absurd? Maybe. Real? Absolutely. There's a kind of thrill in that. And that thrill is exactly what's driving collectors, investors, and wealth seekers to scour coin rolls, revisit forgotten collections, and even search family keepsake boxes. The fear of missing out on a massive financial opportunity is very real and very justified. But here's where things get even more interesting. A 1964 D penny in regular condition isn't going to make anyone rich. It's the top-tier examples, the ones that score high on professional grading scales, that fetch the kind of money that changes lives. And the truth is, most people don't even know what to look for. They have the coin in their possession, but they lack the knowledge that separates a 1-cent trinket from a nearly $1-million asset. It's like holding a lottery ticket and not even checking the numbers. Think about the emotional roller coaster someone must feel after discovering they've been underestimating their own wealth for decades. Excitement, disbelief, even a touch of regret. You might feel your heart racing just imagining it. And that's the power of understanding the hidden value locked away in coins like the 1964 D penny. For many, this isn't just about money. It's about security, legacy, and the chance to rewrite their financial story. If you're wondering what makes a high-value 1964 D penny so special, the answer lies in a mix of striking sharpness, elevated grade, deep original luster, and the absence of flaws. A single tiny scratch or dull patch can drop the value dramatically, which is exactly why perfect examples are astronomically rare. Collectors know this. Investors know this, and that's why the demand keeps rising. A coin that's rare today only grows more valuable tomorrow. The window to find these treasures is shrinking, and every year more coins are graded, cataloged, and locked permanently into private collections. Imagine watching the elevator going up and realizing you're still standing in the lobby. That's the urgency here. And while it might tempt you to think, "I'll check my coins someday," someday is exactly how opportunities slip away. Time has a way of moving quietly until it's too late to act. A single 1964 D penny in exceptional condition can unlock the door to long-desired luxuries: travel, a dream home, financial peace, or even early retirement. What's stopping you from checking right now? Is it time? Is it doubt? Or did you simply not know the potential value waiting inside your own home? The irony is that most people will watch this video, feel a spark of curiosity, and then get distracted by daily life. Dishes, errands, notifications. It only takes seconds for $1 million opportunity to fade into the background. But you're still here, which means you're different. You actually want to know how to take the next step. And that brings us to something most people completely overlook: expert grading. Before anyone receives a life-changing payout for a rare 1964D penny, the coin must be professionally certified. Grading companies analyze the strike, the surface, the color, and every microscopic detail. This is where the real suspense kicks in. You mail off a coin worth a cent, you wait days or weeks, and then the moment arrives. Will it come back as an ordinary penny? Or will you open that envelope and feel the surge of adrenaline knowing you're holding a six-figure or even seven-figure prize? That moment is unforgettable. And for some, it's coming sooner than they think. Humor me for a second. Isn't it ironic that people spend their lives looking for big opportunities? Real estate deals, investment trends, business hacks. When sometimes the key to wealth is sitting in a coffee can in the garage. It makes you wonder what other treasures we've all been ignoring. Still, the story isn't over yet. In fact, this is where things get even more compelling. The market for rare coins is growing at a pace that shocks even industry experts. Wealthy collectors are competing harder than ever. Investors are pouring money into tangible assets. And historical artifacts, especially those with unexpected rarity, are in higher demand year after year. A top-grade 1964D penny that sells for $964,000 today could soar past that number tomorrow. The ceiling keeps rising, and the people who move first will benefit the most. You might be starting to feel that familiar tug of urgency, that sense that you need to take action before someone else gets there first. And you're right, because somewhere out there, someone just found a rare penny. Someone just submitted theirs for grading. Someone just made the decision that will change their financial future. The only question left is whether you'll be one of those people. Don't underestimate what you have. Don't assume it's worthless. Don't wait for a perfect moment that may never come. The 1964D Lincoln penny is more than a coin. It's a reminder that wealth often hides in unexpected places. It's a symbol of opportunity disguised as something ordinary. And for those bold enough to look closer, it could be the key to a lifestyle most people only dream about. So before you end this video, make yourself a promise. Check your coins. Search your drawers, your attic, your jars, your old wallets. Your financial breakthrough might be inches away. And when you find that one penny that defies all odds, remember this moment. Because that's when you'll realize that the journey to wealth didn't start with luck. It started with awareness. And just when you think the story ends here, it doesn't. Because there's one more thing about the 1964D penny value that most people don't know. But that's something we'll explore next time. For now, your future could begin with a single cent. Imagine reaching into an old jar of change, the kind that's been sitting untouched for decades, and discovering a single penny that could change your entire financial future. Sounds unbelievable, right? But stay with me, because the 1976 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny has quietly become one of the most explosive hidden treasures in American coin collecting. And today, its highest recorded value has surged to an astonishing $976,000. Yes, nearly $1 million from a penny. The kind you've probably walked past 1,000 times without a second glance. Now, the real question is, have you already held one and didn't even know it? What makes this unassuming little coin so powerful isn't just its metal or its age. It's the story behind it. A story of rarity, survival, and timing. And as more Americans begin digging through old drawers, inherited boxes, and forgotten collections, the number of valuable discoveries is skyrocketing. The penny that could fund a dream home, pay off debt, send kids to college, or unlock a wealthy lifestyle may already be hiding in your possession. But before you rush off to check every jar, let's look at why this particular coin stands out in a world of billions. The 1976 penny was minted during a turning point in American history. It was the nation's bicentennial year, a year heavy with patriotism, change, and celebration. Millions of coins were produced, yet very few of the highest quality specimens survived. Most were spent, scratched, or worn down in circulation. But an incredibly small number were struck with such sharpness, such precision, and preserved in such pristine condition that they've reached nearly mythical status among collectors. These are the coins that now command staggering prices. You might wonder how a penny with no mint mark, a penny that looks just like any other, could reach a market value of $976,000. It comes down to a perfect storm of rarity, condition, collector demand, and historical significance. But there's something else. Something that many people don't realize until it's too late. For decades, families tossed these coins into jars, donated them, or spent them without knowing the fortune they were holding. And the fear of missing out, of unknowingly giving away a life-changing coin, has now spread across the collecting world. It's the same fear that keeps people up at night thinking, do I have something worth that much and haven't checked? Before we dive into what makes the 1976 no-mint mark penny so valuable, consider this. Every major coin discovery story begins with someone who almost didn't bother looking. Someone who was seconds away from dismissing an old penny as worthless. Someone who, like many people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s, had no idea that a small relic could turn into a massive opportunity. A humble coin that becomes a stepping stone to financial freedom and a more comfortable, wealthy lifestyle. So what exactly elevates this particular penny? For starters, the coin must be in extraordinary condition, far higher than anything you'd find in pocket change today. Collectors search for coins struck with full, crisp details, free of flaws, scratches, or discoloration. Only a handful of these ultra-high-grade coins exist. Think about that for a moment. Out of millions produced, only a tiny fraction remain in top-tier condition. That's like winning a lottery where the winning tickets were printed 49 years ago and scattered out into the world. How many survived? That's the million-dollar question. And here's where things get even more interesting. The demand for rare Lincoln pennies has surged dramatically in recent years, especially among collectors willing to pay life-changing prices for coins that complete their sets. The 1976 no-mint mark penny has become one of those coins. A gap filler, a trophy piece, a symbol of dedication. That demand fuels higher prices, bidding wars, and massive valuations at auctions. Every time one surfaces, the price climbs higher. Will the next one break the million-dollar mark? Some experts believe it's only a matter of time. But there's another emotional element at play: nostalgia. The 1970s were a transformative decade for millions of Americans. Holding a penny from 1976 isn't just holding metal. It's holding a memory, a moment, a connection to a landmark year. And collectors don't just purchase physical items. They purchase the story, the meaning, and the feeling attached to them. A powerful combination that pushes the value of rare coins even higher. Now imagine this. You're sorting through an old box that belonged to your parents or grandparents. Maybe it's a collection you never really understood, or maybe it's just a jar of coins that's been ignored for years. You pick up a 1976 penny. At first glance, nothing special. But then you notice it has no mint mark. The date is crisp. The surface looks unusually clean. And suddenly your heart races. Could this be one of them? Could this be the penny worth $976,000? This moment, this surge of excitement mixed with fear of being wrong, is exactly what collectors experience every single day. And yet there's urgency too. As time passes, more of the surviving coins are found, graded, and accounted for. Once the rarest examples are in the hands of long-term collectors, opportunities begin to shrink. The window to discover these hidden treasures doesn't stay open forever. Eventually, what's left in circulation becomes too worn, too damaged, or simply too scarce to matter. The people who benefit are the ones who take action now, who check, verify, and evaluate their coins before the market shifts again. Some viewers might be thinking, why would anyone pay nearly $1 million for a penny? But ask yourself this: why do people pay millions for art, collectibles, or rare gemstones? Because rarity, beauty, and historical value create powerful emotional and financial pull. And unlike most collectibles, coins are universal. Nearly everyone has handled a penny. Nearly everyone has a jar of them somewhere. And that accessibility creates a unique opportunity for an everyday person to stumble upon extraordinary value. But here's the twist. Not all 1976 pennies are created equal. Many people get excited too quickly, misjudge the condition, or misunderstand what makes the high-value coins truly special. Some even send in worn coins for grading only to be disappointed. It's a process that requires patience, precision, and knowledge. But the reward for getting it right is remarkable. And to ensure you're not misled, you'll need to know exactly what to look for. We'll get to that shortly, because once you understand the difference between a $1 penny and a $976,000 penny, everything changes. Before we reveal the key details that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary, take a moment to imagine what discovering one of these rare coins could mean for your life. Picture paying off your mortgage, upgrading your lifestyle, or securing a safety net for your future. Imagine the peace of knowing that something so small could produce something so significant. This isn't fantasy. This happened for others. And it can happen for you if you have the right information and the willingness to search. As we move into the final part of this journey, stay with me, because this next piece may be the most important information you'll hear today. This is where most people make mistakes, and where the few who get it right walk away with life-changing payouts. So what should you look for in a 1976 no-mint mark penny? First, examine the coin's surface. The highest value coins have razor-sharp details, the lines in Lincoln's coat, the texture in his hair, the clarity of the lettering. Any softness, any wear, instantly decreases value. Next, check for flawless surfaces. No scratches, no fingerprints, no discoloration. A gleaming copper-red appearance is ideal. Finally, pay attention to strike quality. Some coins were struck with exceptional pressure, resulting in bold, three-dimensional features. These coins are the rarest of the rare, the ones that can reach massive auction prices. And now comes the cliffhanger. Somewhere out there, perhaps in a jar, a safe box, or an unopened roll of pennies, the next record-breaking coin is waiting to be found. Could belong to anyone watching right now. It may even already be in your home. The question is, will you be the one to discover it before someone else does? Take a careful look at your coins. Don't rush. Don't underestimate what you have. Because hidden wealth doesn't always announce itself. It waits quietly for the person who knows where to look. And the 1976 no-mint mark penny. It might just be the opportunity that changes everything. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of pennies, and discovering a simple 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Only to find out it's worth more than most luxury cars, more than many family homes, and in some cases, climbing toward a jaw-dropping value of $978,000. Sounds impossible, right? That tiny copper coin you've overlooked for decades could secretly be holding the kind of wealth that changes your entire financial future. And the most shocking part? Most people who own these coins have no idea what they're sitting on. They toss them aside. They spend them. Some even drop them between car seats where they disappear forever. But today, you're about to discover why this unassuming 1978 penny has become one of the most hunted, most misunderstood, and most unexpectedly valuable coins in the entire Lincoln series. It all begins with a coin that most Americans never considered special. The 1978 no-mint mark penny was produced by the Billions, a workhorse coin, circulating quietly through pockets, drawers, and coffee cans for almost 50 years. Nothing flashy, nothing rare-looking, just a simple copper alloy penny, featuring the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln and a reverse memorial design we've all seen 1,000 times. But sometimes, wealth isn't about what stands out. It's about what hides in plain sight. And the most extraordinary stories often start with the smallest details. Details most people never bother to look for. After all, how many times have you glanced at a penny and thought, this thing could pay off my mortgage? Probably never. But maybe after today, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Back in the late 1970s, the US Mint was running full speed. Demand for coins was high, and the machinery producing them was under constant pressure. Under those conditions, tiny variations, barely noticeable to the human eye, began to appear. A handful of 1978 pennies came off the line with unexpected errors. Double dies that distort lettering, off-center strikes that warp the coin's symmetry, and incredibly sharp, near-perfect examples that somehow survive decades without a single scratch. These rare variations have been selling for astonishing prices. A collector with deep pockets sees a flawless 1978 penny with powerful strike details, And suddenly the bidding goes higher, then even higher. Before you know it, you're staring at a sale that lands close to $1 million. Imagine that. A coin most people use to scratch off lottery tickets becoming more valuable than the jackpot itself. And here's the ironic part. The people who strike it rich with coins like this aren't always collectors or experts. Often it's regular folks, people who just wanted to declutter, people who pulled an old coin jar from a dusty attic, people who were simply curious enough to look twice. That's where opportunity lives. Not in the rarest objects, not in the gleaming gold bars locked behind vault doors, but in the everyday things we walk past without noticing. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many fortunes have slipped through our fingers simply because we didn't know what we were holding? But let's dig deeper, because the story gets more intense. Some of the most valuable 1978 pennies ever discovered weren't found in museums or high-end coin collections. They were found in circulation. Yes, ordinary circulation. That means someone spent the coin. Someone received the coin. Someone passed it along. And all along the way, it carried hidden wealth like a tiny copper treasure chest waiting for the right person to open it. There's something thrilling and terrifying about that. Thrilling because you could be the next person to find one. Terrifying because you might already have owned one and let it go without ever knowing. How many times have you dumped change into a machine or brushed coins off a table without thinking twice? If that doesn't give you a little shiver, it should. These high-value coins aren't rare by accident. They're rare because they survived. Over the decades, countless 1978 pennies were scratched, dented, tarnished, or melted down for recycling. Only the strongest specimens remain, and only a few with the right combination of errors and high-grade condition carry that six-figure price tag. Collectors pay extraordinary premiums for coins graded at the highest levels, especially in MS-67 and above. But here's the twist. These coins didn't start out perfect. They simply endured. They stayed crisp. They escaped the rough handling of pockets, wallets, and car floors. They lived quiet, protected lives in jars, drawers, and forgotten places. Sometimes, survival is the rarest trait of all. Now imagine yourself discovering one. Picture that moment. You're sorting through old coins, not expecting much, maybe just looking for something interesting. Then you spot a 1978 penny with sharp lettering, flawless surfaces, and no mint mark. You start to feel your pulse quicken. What if it's a double die? What if the reverse has that subtle shift only advanced collectors recognize? What if this is the one? The excitement builds. Because in that instant, you're not just holding a coin. You're holding hope, possibility, the kind of opportunity most people never even know exists. Of course, wealth always brings questions. What do you do if you find one of these high-value pennies? Should you sell immediately? Should you get it graded? Should you hold onto it like a long-term investment? These decisions can change your financial life, and the wrong move can cost you tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's why knowledge is your most powerful tool. A rare coin can make you wealthy, but only if you know how to harness its full value. And here's where many people make the biggest mistake. They rush. They panic. They trust the wrong buyer. They fall into the trap of selling $1 million coin for a few $100s because they were afraid to wait. But you won't make that mistake. Not after learning what these coins are capable of. The true power of the 1978 penny isn't the metal it's made from. It's the story it carries. Every collector wants a story, one of survival, rarity, mystery, and the thrill of the unexpected. That story is what drives prices into the stratosphere. When a coin like this appears in an auction, collectors don't just see copper. They see the decades it survived, the errors that slipped past the mint, the sheer luck of its discovery. They see history, and they bid like they're trying to own a piece of destiny itself. That's why a simple penny can command $100, $000, $300, $000, even $978,000. And if you're wondering whether prices could go higher, let's just say collectors have surprised the world more times than investors in the stock market. But before we reach the end, there's one more twist in this story. The most valuable 1978 penny ever sold wasn't discovered by a seasoned collector. It wasn't found in a bank vault. It wasn't purchased from a rare coin dealer decades ago. It was found by an ordinary person who did something extraordinary. They paid attention. They looked closely. They didn't assume a penny was just a penny. And that decision changed their life. So here's the real question. What's stopping you? What if the next $978,000 penny is already in your home, tucked away in a drawer or sitting quietly in a coin jar you haven't opened in years? What if your opportunity is already waiting, but you just haven't taken the time to look? Every great discovery begins with curiosity. Every fortune begins with action. And the people who create wealthy lifestyles for themselves rarely do it by accident. They do it by recognizing potential where others see nothing. That's the power hidden inside the 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. Not just financial value, but the reminder that life-changing opportunities are often found in the small, ordinary places everyone else ignores. So before you go, take a moment. Think about the coins you've collected over the years. Think about the change you've tossed aside. Think about what could be waiting for you right now. Then open that jar, that drawer, that old box in the attic. Because your next step might not just uncover a rare penny. It might uncover the wealth, the freedom, and the lifestyle you've always dreamed about. And trust me, you don't want to find out years from now that you had $1 million coin in your hands and never knew it. What if an ordinary-looking coin sitting in your drawer right now was quietly worth almost $1 million? Today, we're diving into the unbelievable world of the 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that recently shook the market with a staggering value reaching up to $988,000. Yes, you heard that right, $988,000 for a single 1-cent coin. Before you think it's impossible, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this coin can demand such a fortune, how collectors hunt for it, and how you might already own one without even realizing it. It's easy to underestimate something as small as a penny. After all, when was the last time someone said they got rich from pocket change? Probably never. And yet, hidden in this simple coin lies a powerful reminder that wealth doesn't always appear grand or obvious. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough, bold enough, or lucky enough to truly see it. And that curiosity, that willingness to look closer, has changed lives. Because the 1988 no-mint Mark penny isn't rare just by accident. It's rare because of a perfect storm of history, minting technology, collector psychology, and a market that's hungry for the next big discovery. But before we explore why this coin is worth a small fortune, let's rewind to the moment where the story truly begins. In the late 1980s, the United States Mint was transitioning through a major design and die engraving evolution. New master dies, modified details, and multiple working hubs were mixed into production. For most people, this sounds like dry technical talk. For rare coin collectors, this is where the excitement begins, because big changes at the mint often result in unexpected varieties slipping into circulation. And the 1988 Lincoln penny happens to be one of those coins born in the chaos. Now imagine millions of coins being produced, but only a tiny handful emerging with a distinctive trait that separates them from the rest. It's like finding the one misprinted dollar bill in a sea of perfect ones. But here's the twist. The 1988 penny doesn't just have a minor error or a smudge or a misplaced die crack. What sets this coin apart is something much more dramatic, so dramatic that once you see it, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. But we'll get to that in a moment. Because first, we need to talk about something deeper. Why do collectors go wild for coins like this? Why would someone pay nearly $1 million for a penny? The answer is surprisingly human. People don't pay for the metal. They pay for the story. They pay for the mistake that wasn't supposed to happen. They pay for the thrill of owning something almost no one else has. And they pay for the possibility that one day the coin's value could explode even higher. After all, rarity plus demand equals opportunity. And opportunity, when mixed with urgency, creates a market where fortunes shift quickly. Speaking of urgency, let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your old change jar? Your childhood coin collection? The box of coins your parents kept tucked away for someday? Most people haven't looked in years. But what if someday is today? What if the next $1 million coin is sitting there waiting for you to notice it? Believe me, stranger things have happened. People have found life-changing coins in grocery store change, in old drawers, even stuck under couch cushions. So if you haven't checked your stash in a while, You might want to after this video. Now let's circle back to the 1988 penny and the secret that gives it the power to reach this extraordinary value. This coin is known for what collectors call the 1988 reverse of 1989 variety. In simple terms, the backside of the coin, yes, the Lincoln Memorial, was mistakenly engraved using the 1989 master hub instead of the proper 1988 version. It's like printing a 1988 book with the cover of a 1989 edition. Most people would never notice, but experts see it instantly. The difference shows up in subtle design details around the memorial building. Sharper lines, different letter alignment, and tiny engraving shifts that only appear in 1989 coins. These differences are microscopic, but powerful, because they confirm that this coin is not just rare, not just unusual, but the result of a wrong die being used at the mint. And when it comes to Lincoln cents, wrong dies are the holy grail. Now here's where it gets even better. The 1988 no-mint mark penny with this rare reverse variety almost always goes unnoticed by regular people. They spend it, they drop it, they give it away without a second thought. Even today, these coins can still be hiding in circulation, waiting for someone with a sharp eye and maybe a little luck to spot them. That possibility alone fuels the excitement. The thought that an ordinary American could find a near $1 million coin in their spare change creates a modern-day treasure hunt. And that brings us to the moment collectors talk about with awe. One of these rare 1988 pennies was discovered in exceptional condition. So pristine, so untouched, so perfect, that when it hit the auction block, the bidding exploded. The final hammer price? An incredible $988,000. Almost $1 million for a penny that originally cost 1 cent to mint. Stories like this send shockwaves through the coin world. They create urgency. They turn quiet collectors into eager hunters. They turn average Americans into hopeful treasure seekers. Because if one exists in such perfect condition, could there be more? Let's be honest, if you found one of these coins today, what would you do? Would you hold it? Would you sell it immediately? Or would you take a moment to laugh at the fact that a penny just became the most valuable thing you've ever owned? It's a fun question, but also a powerful one. Because if you're watching this video, chances are you're someone who's exploring ways to create wealth, to discover hidden value, to transform forgotten things into financial opportunity. And this penny is the perfect symbol of that mindset. But before you go digging through your couch cushions, you should know this. Finding this coin isn't easy. The vast majority of 1988 pennies are completely ordinary. They're worth exactly 1 cent today and tomorrow. But a tiny fraction, just a small sliver of all coins minted that year, carry the rare reverse variety. And an even smaller number survive in high grade. Condition matters more than you might imagine. A beat-up version of this coin might sell for a few $100s. But the pristine, high-grade examples, the ones with crisp details and perfect surfaces, are the ones that soar toward that extraordinary $988,000 mark. And here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Many people assume they can instantly tell the difference between an ordinary penny and the rare one. But often they're wrong. Identifying the reverse variety requires a close inspection, sometimes with a magnifying tool. A single overlooked detail can cost someone hundreds of thousands of dollars. Imagine brushing off a coin as worthless when it could have bought you a house. That possibility alone is enough to make anyone take a second look at their collection. Now, think about this. As collectors continue searching and investors continue buying, the demand for this coin keeps growing. And with demand comes value. Prices rise, auctions heat up, and the market transforms a small copper-plated zinc coin into a financial powerhouse. Will the next record sale push the value beyond $1 million? Many experts believe it's not just possible, it's likely. We may be standing on the edge of another price surge, another $1 million headline, another moment that turns ordinary people into overnight success stories. But before that happens, you have a choice. You can ignore the opportunity like most people do and assume pennies will never matter. Or you can take action. You can check your coins. You can evaluate your collection. You can search through rolls, boxes, jars, and drawers. Because someone out there is going to find the next valuable penny. Someone is going to cash in on this moment. And the only real question is, why not you? Let's end with this thought. Wealth doesn't always come from big investments, complicated strategies, or years of planning. Sometimes it begins with something as small as a penny. The 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is proof that life-changing value can hide in the most unexpected places. All it takes is awareness. All it takes is attention. All it takes is one discovery. So the next time you spot a penny, maybe pick it up, look at it closely, hold it like it might be worth more than you can imagine. Because somewhere out there, another 1988 penny is waiting to be found. And the person who finds it might just be watching this video right now. And yes, that person could be you. Imagine waking up one morning to discover that a penny you tossed into a junk drawer decades ago is now worth more than a luxury home. Hard to believe? Maybe. Impossible? Not at all. Because right now in the world of rare coin collectors, a simple 1991 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, yes, the same copper-coated coin millions of Americans used every day, is reaching staggering values. Some specimens have skyrocketed to nearly $1 million, with today's market pushing an unbelievable $991,000 for the right coin. And the most fascinating part is that anyone, absolutely anyone, might already have one hidden in a forgotten cup holder, a basement box, or a dusty family coin jar. Welcome back. Today, we're diving into the surprising truth behind the 1991 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that collectors are chasing with an urgency that feels almost electric. And as we go deeper, you'll discover exactly what makes this ordinary-looking cent one of the most extraordinary wealth opportunities hiding in plain sight. If you've ever wondered whether your old pennies could change your financial future, you'll want to stay tuned to the very end. The details you're about to hear could be the difference between pocket change and life-changing money. The story begins quietly, so quietly that most Americans never noticed it. In 1991, hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents rolled out of the Philadelphia Mint. They carried no mint mark, as usual for that location, and they were meant to be nothing more than everyday currency. People used them to buy gum, feed parking meters, and toss into chip bowls at the grocery store. The coins were forgettable, unremarkable, blending into the background of daily transactions. But in the world of numismatics, value often hides where no one expects it. Hidden errors, microvariations, early die states, and mint production quirks can transform a routine coin into a literal treasure. And that's exactly what happened with the rarest surviving 1991 no-mint Mark pennies. Coins struck with precision anomalies so subtle that most collectors didn't even identify them until decades later. By then, these rare examples had almost vanished into the backdrop of circulation, lost in jars, drawers, and old wallets. Why do collectors pay nearly $1 million for a coin that originally cost a single cent? It all comes down to scarcity, condition, and the fierce competition among high-end collectors. The finest graded 1991 no-mint Mark pennies, those with near-perfect surfaces, flawless luster, and razor-sharp strikes, are so rare that they've become status symbols in private collections. Think of them like the Ferraris of the penny world. And just like exotic cars, when supply is tiny and demand is enormous, the price has only one place to go: up. Now, imagine this scenario. You're sorting through old belongings. Maybe you're settling an estate. Maybe you're cleaning out a childhood box. You pick up an old penny without a second thought. And then something feels off. The shine looks different. The details look crisp. The coin looks untouched by time. What would you do? Would you toss it away? Or would you get it checked, knowing full well it could be worth nearly $1 million? That moment right there is why so many people are now taking rare coins seriously. Because opportunities like this don't come often, and when they do, they don't last forever. Of course, some people look at the penny and think, it's just a 1991 cent. What's the big deal? And that's exactly the mistake millions made before values exploded. They assumed the ordinary was ordinary. They believed the everyday held no secrets. They underestimated the simple truth that wealth doesn't always show up wearing a gold suit. Sometimes, it hides behind a copper shell, waiting for someone who looks closely enough. Collectors and investors today are aggressively chasing top-tier examples because the market for vintage U.S. coins is on fire. The competition is intense. The bidding wars are brutal. And the fear of missing out is pushing prices higher and higher. Nobody wants to be the person who says, I had one of those once, but I didn't bother to check. That regret stings in ways money can't fix. And here's the twist. The 1991 penny isn't rare because of low production. It's rare because surviving, pristine, untouched specimens are almost non-existent. Think about it. Pennies were pocket change. People let them bounce around with keys, drop them onto sidewalks, spill them into drawers. By the time anyone realized these coins could be worth a fortune, most had already lived hard lives. Only a tiny number escaped that fate. Coins saved accidentally, coins forgotten early, coins stored unknowingly in places where air and time couldn't destroy them. Those are the coins now bringing 6- and 7-figure prices. The emotional power of this is enormous. Imagine being the one who finds a treasure nobody else recognized. Imagine selling it and suddenly having the freedom to pay off debt, retire early, or finally take that leap into the lifestyle you've always wanted. The lifestyle most people dream about but never reach because they never look closely enough at the opportunities already in their hands. Still, the most important question remains, what does a truly valuable 1991 no-mint mark penny actually look like? What sets it apart? What makes collectors go wild? The answers are shocking and a bit thrilling. You'll want to listen closely here, because this part might reveal whether you already own one. The most valuable examples display immaculate surfaces, untouched by circulation. They have no scratches, no abrasions, no discoloration. Under magnification, they show clean, crisp details in Lincoln's beard and hair. The strike is strong, with sharp rims and full design clarity. These are the pennies that grading companies love, the ones they label with top-tier grades like MS67, MS68, or, in extraordinarily rare cases, MS69. And once a coin reaches that level, it becomes more than a collectible. It becomes a trophy. Some even display faint die varieties, subtle differences in how the die struck the coin, such as slightly doubled letters, unusual spacing, or minor misalignments. These variations elevate value even further because they transform a great coin into a one-of-a-kind specimen. And nothing drives collectors into bidding frenzies faster than the promise of uniqueness. After all, why settle for ordinary when extraordinary is within reach? If you're watching this right now, the little voice in your head might be whispering, what if I have one? What if I've already seen one and didn't realize it? That whisper is powerful because it's the same whisper that led countless people to take their coins seriously, and many walked away with small fortunes because of it. The difference between someone who discovers wealth and someone who misses it often comes down to curiosity, attention, and timing. And timing matters more now than ever. The market for rare U.S. coins, especially late 20th century anomalies, is red hot. New collectors are entering the game every day. High net worth buyers are competing aggressively. And as demand rises, the ceiling for rare coin values pushes higher and higher. There's a reason seasoned investors are calling this a golden era for rare pennies. Prices that seemed unthinkable a decade ago now feel completely normal. But nothing lasts forever. Markets shift, trends cool, and those who act later often find themselves watching opportunity fade into the distance. You don't want to be in that group. Not when the potential upside is this massive. A coin that cost 1 cent could be your entry point into wealth, into opportunity, into a future where financial freedom feels not only possible but attainable. And really, how many chances do people get to turn a penny into nearly $1 million? But before we finish, there's one more twist, one more surprising truth that almost nobody talks about. A truth that could determine whether your penny is just a penny or something far more valuable. It has to do with the unexpected factor that separates a $20 coin from a $991,000 coin. And if you're serious about selling, investing, or even just identifying your coins, this detail could be the key. That final secret is knowing exactly how grading companies view your coin under microscopic scrutiny. That's where fortunes are made or lost. And in our next video, I'll reveal the behind-the-scenes grading standards that determine whether your penny becomes a $1 million trophy or just another coin in the jar. What if, right now, hiding somewhere in your home, inside an old jar, a forgotten drawer, or a dusty box of childhood memories, you are sitting on a fortune without even realizing it? What if the key to a wealthier, freer, more comfortable life is a single penny? Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? Yet this is exactly the reality behind the 2000 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that many people once tossed aside as pocket change, now breaking expectations with auction prices reaching as high as $200,000, and in rare cases, far more, climbing toward the kind of figures you only whisper about, the $1 million range. Before you think this is just another overhyped treasure hunt story, stay with me, because by the time we reach the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why collectors are paying small fortunes for a coin most Americans have touched, dropped, or ignored. And who knows, maybe one sitting in your possession carries the same hidden power. Our story begins at the turn of the millennium, a time when America was preparing for a digital future, and people were far more concerned about computers crashing than pennies gaining value. The Lincoln penny of the year 2000 looked ordinary to nearly everyone. No shiny commemorative design, no special markings, no dramatic announcement, just the classic copper-plated zinc coin that had been circulating for decades. But what if one of the most ordinary-looking coins of that year turned out to be one of the most extraordinary? And that's exactly the twist. Collectors discovered that certain 2000 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies weren't ordinary at all. They were the result of rare manufacturing anomalies, minute differences that created extremely scarce varieties. Some have exceptionally sharp strikes, others show subtle doubling on the lettering or the date, and a few display transitional or off-metal features that send experts into bidding frenzies. These aren't mistakes. They're miracles of the minting process. Happy accidents that transform a 1-cent coin into a life-changing opportunity. But here's the part most people miss. You can't always spot these rare varieties at a glance. They hide in plain sight, and that's where fear creeps in, because for every collector who finds one, there are hundreds who unknowingly spend theirs, losing out on a potential 6-figure payday. Imagine buying a cup of coffee with a penny that could have paid off your mortgage. Terrifying, isn't it? Yet this fear isn't here to paralyze you. It's here to wake you up. Because what separates those who stay stuck from those who build wealth is awareness, knowledge, action, your ability to identify opportunity where others see nothing. And the 2000 Lincoln penny is one of those opportunities. So what exactly makes these specific coins worth $200,000 today? It comes down to demand, scarcity, and condition. Smart collectors know that coins from the modern era are becoming the new frontier of high-value collecting. Younger investors want pieces from their childhood years. Older collectors want the coins that define their era. And when the supply of top-graded specimens is tiny, sometimes only a handful known to exist, the price launches into life-changing territory. One of the rarest versions of the 2000 Lincoln penny is known for its exceptional strike quality. Some coins were produced with unusual sharpness, capturing Abraham Lincoln's profile with nearly sculptural precision. Grading companies recognize this, and when a coin earns a top-tier grade like MS 69 or MS 70, the value skyrockets. Add in doubling varieties, rim errors, or off-center strikes, and suddenly you're not holding a penny, you're holding a prize. But maybe you're wondering, why now? Why would a coin from the year 2000 suddenly be worth $200,000? Markets shift. Collectors evolve. Wealthy buyers are turning their attention to pieces that were previously ignored, hunting for the next big thing before the rest of the world catches up. And the 2000 no-mint mark penny has become a contender, rising in value as awareness grows. Still, for viewers between 30 and 65, there's a deeper reason this matters. You've worked hard. You understand the value of financial stability. You know the weight of responsibilities, bills, obligations, and dreams deferred. And you're smart enough to recognize that new wealth doesn't always come from working more. It often comes from recognizing overlooked opportunities. What if one of the most overlooked opportunities in America is sitting inside a jar of pennies? Of course, finding the right coin requires patience and a careful eye. You'll want to look closely at the date, the lettering, and Lincoln's portrait. A magnifying glass helps. Good lighting helps even more. Look for doubling on the date or letters. Look for sharp, crisp details that stand out from typical circulation coins. And if you find something unusual, the smartest next step is professional grading. A coin that looks interesting might be worth $100, but a coin that earns a top-tier grade could be worth hundreds of thousands. Now, before you rush to dump your entire change jar onto the kitchen table, let's pause for a moment. Ask yourself, why haven't more people discovered this? Because most people don't take the time. They assume pennies are worthless. They assume wealth comes from big, loud, obvious things. But here's the truth. Most fortunes are hidden in quiet places, waiting for someone with curiosity and a little ambition. Speaking of curiosity, here's a cliffhanger for you. Toward the end of this video, I'll share one of the most surprising traits that can increase the value of your penny dramatically. And it's something almost no beginner ever checks for. Keep listening because you'll want to know exactly what it looks like. Let's shift gears toward mindset for a moment. If you're watching this video, there's a reason. You're not just hoping to sell a coin. You're looking for a pathway toward greater wealth, freedom, and security. You're looking for that moment when your hard work finally pays off. In a world full of financial stress and uncertainty, discovering that a simple coin could change your circumstances brings a kind of hope we rarely talk about. Not lottery hope, not fantasy hope, real hope, tangible opportunities that reward attention and learning. And maybe that's why these modern-era pennies have become such a growing market. They're accessible, they're familiar, they're tied to everyday life. Yet within that familiarity lies something unexpected, something exciting, something potentially life-changing. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because you still need the final key, the trait almost nobody checks. Beyond doubling, beyond strike quality, beyond condition, some of the most valuable 2000 Lincoln pennies exhibit subtle transitional features, traces of older die designs, microscopic inconsistencies in the plating, or slight deviations in weight that suggest off-metal strikes. These variations are incredibly rare, and when discovered, they command massive premiums, often pushing the coin's value far beyond its already impressive market range. Imagine being the person who finds one. Imagine sending it in for grading, waiting anxiously, checking your email 100 times a day. And then the result arrives. Top-tier grade, ultra-rare variety, value soaring into the six-figure range. A life-changing moment. Delivered by a coin worth 1 cent. It sounds like a story you'd hear about somebody else. But why not you? The truth is simple. Opportunity doesn't care who you are. It only cares whether you're paying attention. And right now, you're paying attention. You're gaining knowledge. And knowledge, especially in the collector's market, is leverage. The collectors who thrive are the ones who stay curious, stay educated, and stay just a little ahead of the rest. And by watching this far, you've placed yourself in that category. So here's your next step. Check your coins. Search your drawers. Look through your old jars and boxes. Don't underestimate anything. Because somewhere in America, right now, someone is going to discover a 2000 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny worth $200,000. Maybe more. And the only difference between the person who finds it and the person who misses it is simple. One took action, one didn't. You have nothing to lose by looking, but you have everything to gain. Before we wrap up, consider this final thought. Wealth doesn't always arrive with noise and spotlight. Sometimes it arrives quietly, disguised as something ordinary. Sometimes it hides in the smallest corners of life, just waiting for you to uncover it. And maybe, just maybe, your journey to a wealthier lifestyle begins not with something big, but with a single penny from the year 2000. Imagine this. You're sitting at your kitchen table, sorting through a jar of old change you haven't touched in years. The light catches a single coin, a simple 2002 Lincoln penny. You flip it over, thinking nothing of it, unaware that this tiny copper-plated circle could be worth more than luxury cars, beachfront vacations, or even the down payment on a dream home. Yes, a penny. A coin most people ignore, walk past, or sweep into junk drawers. Today, you'll discover why this unassuming 2002 Lincoln cent has shocked collectors, investors, and everyday Americans by reaching values up to millions of dollars, with a current market record of $202,000. And the real question is this: could one be hiding in your house right now? Collectors and wealthy buyers are quietly hunting these coins, paying premiums that feel almost unreal. But every fortune begins with a moment of awareness, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what makes a 2002 penny so valuable, how to identify the rare traits, and how you can position yourself to turn forgotten change into a powerful opportunity for wealth. Stay with me because the part about the hidden minting flaw, yes, the one that transformed ordinary coins into six-figure treasures, is coming up shortly. Most Americans remember 2002 as a modern, ordinary year. Nothing about the coins from that time feels ancient or historical. And that's the trap. That illusion of modern commonness is exactly why most people overlook these pennies. But in the collecting world, value isn't about age. It's about rarity, condition, and demand. A coin minted yesterday could be worth more than one minted a century ago, if it has the right traits. So what makes the 2002 D. Lincoln penny a star among modern coins? It begins with how it was made. The Denver Mint struck billions of these pennies, but only a tiny fraction came out with unusual characteristics, traits that collectors today see as treasure. We're talking about sharp, flawless strikes, dramatic minting errors, doubled features, off-center impressions, and the coveted ultra-high-grade examples that have survived 2 decades without a scratch. Think of it like this: billions were made, but almost all were spent, scraped, damaged, or worn down to nothing. Only a handful, literally a microscopic fraction, still exist in pristine, investment-grade condition. And that handful is where the big money is. Imagine a penny that looks as if it was frozen in time the moment it left the mint. No fingerprints, no circulation marks, no dull surfaces. Under magnification, it glows. That's the type of specimen that recently shocked the market with a $202,000 price tag. And here's the twist. The owner didn't find it in a museum, a vault, or an estate collection. Came from an ordinary household. Someone like you. Someone who never expected that a penny could change their financial life. But why would a collector pay that much? Comes down to emotion, prestige, and competition. Wealthy buyers want what others can't have. High-end collectors battle for the rarest examples of modern coins, and when two or more want the same coin, prices explode. This is why certain 2002 D pennies have quietly escalated from pocket change to small fortunes. Demand rises, supply shrinks, and every year another high-grade specimen disappears into private vaults, never to be seen again. Which raises the question, how many are left out there? And is one waiting for you? Let's get specific about what to look for. You'll want to examine the mint mark, D for Denver. Next, check for doubling, strong outlines around the dates, letters, or Lincoln's portrait. Collectors call this a double die error, and some examples show dramatic effects visible without magnification. Another moneymaker is an off-center strike where part of the design is shifted noticeably to the side. The more dramatic the off-center, the more dramatic the price. But even without errors, a perfect, pristine, untouched 2002 D penny can skyrocket in value if it grades high enough. Coins that achieve top-tier grades like MS68 or MS69 are so rare that just one can ignite a bidding war. You might be wondering, how do you know if your coin is one of these high-value treasures? The first step is simple. Start looking. That jar in your drawer, the cup in your car, the box in your closet. Some of the biggest finds in history came from the most ordinary places. People who assume they'll never be lucky, never check. And those who check are often the ones who uncover something life-changing. Isn't it wild to think that the coin you dismissed last year could be worth more than the monthly mortgage payment you stressed over? Once you've found a coin that looks promising, you'll want to protect it from damage immediately. Oils from fingertips alone can cost you thousands. Use gloves, plastic flips, or coin tubes. If the coin looks flawless or shows an obvious error, consider sending it to a professional grading service. Their certification can turn a good coin into a great investment. And if it comes back with a grade that lands in the top ranks, well, that's where fortunes begin. There's another emotional layer here, something collectors don't always admit. Owning a rare coin creates a sense of legacy. A 2002 D penny worth 6 figures isn't just metal. It's history, mystery, and the thrill of possessing something almost no one else has. But from your perspective, the real magic lies in the opportunity. Most people dream of finding something valuable without spending anything. You're not buying stocks. You're not risking savings. You're simply searching through what you already own. How many investment opportunities are that generous? Of course, here's the fear no one likes to talk about. Every year that passes, more high-grade coins are found, graded, and locked away forever. Once they're in elite collections, they rarely hit the market again. That means the window to find one yourself is closing. Slowly, silently, and permanently. Think about how many coins you've thrown into jars for years. Think about how many you've given away in change without a second thought. What if one of those was the jackpot? What if it's still sitting there, waiting, while someone else discovers theirs? The excitement is in the unknown. Maybe you check your coins tonight and find nothing, or maybe you find something extraordinary. That's the cliffhanger built into this world of rare pennies. You won't know until you look. And the people who do find them all have one thing in common. They took action. They searched. They learned what to look for. They treated ordinary pennies like potential opportunities instead of ignoring them. Wealth doesn't always arrive with fanfare. Sometimes it's disguised as something you've seen 1,000 times. Before we wrap up, here's a question to reset your mind. When was the last time you actually looked at the pennies you spend every day? Most people can't even remember. That single habit, overlooking small things, often reflects the bigger way we overlook hidden opportunities in life. But this time, it's different. This time, you know better. The 2002 Lincoln penny is one of those rare chances where ordinary Americans can step into a world of wealth that usually feels reserved for the elite. All it takes is awareness, curiosity, and a few minutes of effort. Somewhere out there, tucked away in a drawer or resting in someone's palm, is another six-figure penny waiting to be discovered. Could it be yours? Imagine waking up tomorrow, reaching into an old coin jar, and realizing that the 1-cent penny you've ignored for years could pay off your house, retire your debt, and even open the door to a lifestyle you once thought belonged only to other people. It sounds unbelievable, almost ridiculous, right? A penny worth more than luxury cars, more than gold bars, even more than a down payment on a beach house. But today, we're talking about the 2017 Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a modern coin with the shocking potential to be worth up to millions of dollars, and currently commanding prices as high as $217,000 in rare conditions. Yes, this tiny copper-plated coin, created just a few years ago, is changing lives. What makes this story powerful isn't just the value. It's the idea that something you've already walked past, something sitting quietly in a drawer, might hold the key to wealth you didn't know you had. And as you listen today, keep one thing in mind. Life-changing opportunities rarely announce themselves. Sometimes they hide inside a penny. The fascinating part about the 2017 penny is that it's new enough to still be floating around in pockets and registers across the country, yet rare enough in certain conditions to trigger bidding wars among collectors. Many people throw these coins away without a thought, but a small number of these pennies contain errors, striking mistakes, and die varieties that make them extraordinarily valuable. And if you think finding one is impossible, consider this. The people who've already sold theirs for astonishing amounts never expected to find treasure either. They were everyday individuals, just like you, who happened to look twice. But before we get into what makes these pennies so special, let's ask a simple question. Why would anyone pay 6 figures or even 7 for a coin that literally says 1 cent? The answer lies in scarcity, condition, and demand. For collectors, a perfect or extremely error-rich modern penny isn't just a coin. It's a trophy. It's proof of survival, of anomaly, of beauty hidden in the everyday. And because these 2017 pennies were mass-produced, finding one that stands out is like discovering a diamond in a pile of glass. One of the most valuable traits in these coins is precision. A flawless penny graded at the highest possible scale becomes a rarity the instant it leaves the mint. Fewer coins reach that level every year, especially in circulation. And then there are the errors. Double dies, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, strange plating flaws, and other anomalies that appear when minting machinery falters for just a fraction of a second. That fraction, that's where the magic lives. That's where wealth hides. Now picture this. Someone somewhere right now is tossing one of these pennies into a tip jar, completely unaware. Will the next lucky person to catch one be you? Or will you let the chance slip by? These questions create urgency because the truth is, once collectors secure these rare specimens, they disappear into private collections for decades. And when supply drops, value rises. This is why people with a trained eye are already acting fast. The most incredible sales of the 2017 D penny didn't happen because sellers were experts. They happened because they were curious enough to take a closer look. One man said he almost used his rare penny at a gas station before noticing a strange shine. Another found his in a laundry load. Someone else discovered theirs while cleaning out a desk they hadn't touched in years. It makes you wonder how many treasures are still slipping through fingers every single day. And maybe you're wondering right now if something valuable is hiding in your home. That curiosity you feel? Hold on to it. That's where your opportunity begins. The real power of this coin isn't just the potential payout. It's the shift it creates in the way you see your own world. Suddenly, spare change isn't spare. Every penny becomes a question. Could this be the one? And that question builds hope, energy, drive. It wakes you up to the fact that wealth doesn't always come from where you expect it. Sometimes it comes from knowledge that others overlook. But let's bring it back to the mystery. Why is this particular year and mint mark so special? Some experts believe that subtle issues at the Denver Mint during production created a small wave of abnormal strikes. Others suggest that collectors' explosion of interest in modern errors pushed demand higher. Whatever the cause, the result is the same. This coin has skyrocketed in value in a way that defies logic and forces collectors to pay top dollar simply to compete. And here's the twist. Even though we know the impressive numbers, hundreds of thousands of dollars, there's still uncertainty about the full value ceiling. Could the next perfect or extreme error specimen break the $1 million mark? Could it become the most valuable modern penny in existence? Some insiders believe it's not only possible, it's inevitable. That's why serious collectors are hunting aggressively. They know the window is closing. You can almost feel the tension in the market, like a rope pulled tight, waiting to snap. Imagine the emotional roller coaster of someone who discovers one. The excitement, the disbelief, the fear of damaging it, the race to get it graded. The moment they open the results and realize they're holding a life-changing asset in the palm of their hand. It's a story that feels mythical until it happens to you. And the possibility alone should spark something inside you. If a modern penny can be worth more than $200,000, what else is out there that we've all ignored? And let's be honest, how many of us have joked about saving pennies, saying we'll get rich one day? Turns out the joke might be on everyone who didn't pay attention. Because in this case, that old phrase about a penny saved might finally make sense. And if you're suddenly feeling the urge to check your couch cushions, trust me, you're not alone. The deeper we go into this topic, the more surprising it becomes. Think about how many 2017 D pennies were minted. Hundreds of millions. And yet, only a sliver of them have the traits collectors crave. That's what makes the hunt so thrilling. It's a high-stakes treasure search where the prize is small enough to fit in your pocket but powerful enough to change your financial trajectory. And here's something people don't talk about enough. Opportunities like this aren't just rare, they're temporary. The more these coins get discovered and bought up, the harder it becomes for anyone else to enter the game. Time becomes your competition. This urgency can make anyone a little nervous. What if someone else finds the valuable coin meant for you? What if you unknowingly spent one? What if the chance is slipping away each day? These thoughts aren't meant to scare you. They're meant to prepare you. Fear can be a powerful motivator, especially when it pushes you toward a life where you're in control of your wealth rather than watching from the sidelines. But excitement also has a role here. Imagine knowing that you made the decision to act. You looked, you learned, and you found something that others missed. That feeling isn't just satisfaction. It's empowerment. And with the right knowledge, that empowerment can become income. As we move toward the final stretch of this story, let's explore what the future could look like. The coin market has cycles, waves of interest that rise and fall. But rare errors and high-grade modern coins have been consistently climbing. And if the 2017 D penny follows the same trajectory as other modern rarities, today's $217,000 might one day look like a discount. That's the kind of thought that makes collectors act fast. And it should make you think, too. What would it mean for you if you found one? What would you do with that kind of money? Pay off your mortgage? Start a business? Give your family the life they deserve? These aren't fantasies. They're possibilities. And they're closer than you think. As we close, Remember this: wealth doesn't always show up in the ways the world teaches you to expect. Sometimes it hides behind something as small as a penny. The question is whether you'll take this moment, this knowledge, and turn it into action. The difference between a missed opportunity and a life-changing discovery is often just a few seconds of attention. So the next time a 2017 Lincoln penny crosses your path, pause. Look closely, because you never know, your million-dollar moment may already be in your hands.